know that carrying your groceries out to your car seems a bit old school. That saying hello and asking about your day feels like a thing of the past. Being best at fresh, it's not just a fad. Serving high-quality meat at affordable prices? Talk about a throwback. But at Fairway, that's kind of our thing. Because some things never go out of style. Friendly at Fairway. It's more than just a name.
What is up, Fanatics? It's Chris Williams here. Episode number 2 of our 2025 Summer Series. And we are presented, as always, by our friends at Fairway Meat and Grocery. Thanks to them for stepping up to the plate, as they always do, to bring us the best coverage of Iowa State that you can find anywhere on the internet. We are excited to be here for, how many years has Cyclone Fanatic been here now? Jeremy Lin started this thing in 2005. Man, 20 years. We need to do a party. Would you guys come? We could have skinless brats from Fairway. It'd be amazing. Let's go now to our friends, the Natuzels. Natuzel Financial Services from Raymond James. My guy Clay, Chase, Cody, they are, I mean this, I've gotten to know them. I think I'm going to use their services going forward, and they're just really good dudes. They love the Cyclones just like we do, and some guys who, you know, I've gotten to know over the last couple of years, and I just really, really appreciate who they are as humans. So you guys should check them out if you're into, you know, anything with your financial planning. I'm going to spell out their last name for you, okay? It's Netusil. Natuzel Financial Services. Great people, great Cyclones. Give them a shot if you are looking for a financial planner in your near future. Jake Brend caught up with the voice of the Cyclones, John Walters. Fall camp starts this week. We have Media Day coming up later this week. The season is here. No more waiting. The season is here. Jake Brend, the voice of the Cyclones, one of the best dudes in the entire world. I love him like a father. John Walters, your Summer Series episode number 2. If you missed number 1 with Derek Hoodger last week, the GM of Iowa State football, I sat down with him. You can go back and find that. Not timely or anything like that, so you can go and catch up, and it'll be great for you. Here it is. I can't wait to listen to it and watch it myself here on the YouTube. John Walters, Jake Brend, Episode 2 of the 2025 Cyclone Fanatic Summer Series.
Where we're back with the Summer Series and joined by the Godfather himself, John Walters. John, thanks for hopping on for our Summer Series. How's it going?
Happy to do it. It's going great. It's going fast. The summer is accelerated even more this year with Dublin coming up very quickly. So once you get to the 4th of July, it's like, oh man, it's here. Football season's basically here.
Has the majority of your time been spent correcting local media members on pronunciations? Me included.
Hey man, here's the thing that's happened with that. So through the years, I didn't used to go ask the players how they pronounce their names. And it was fine, but I just kind of trusted what was out there, you know? And so, for 2 years, we called Melvin Edgem Melvin Ejim. And then Mike Green, who was the sports information director at the time, happened to ask, or heard Melvin say his last name to somebody. He's like, Melvin, what'd you say your last name was? And he said, Edgem. And he goes, you know, we've been calling you Ejim for 2 years. He goes, I know, I don't care. You can call me whatever you want. And that's the problem. These guys don't correct you, right? And then Kene Nwangu, famously, you know, had always heard from the coaches, and everybody else called him Nwangu. So I called him Nwangu. And then he goes to the NFL, and all of a sudden, Paul Allen with the Vikings is calling him Wongwu.
And we're all on Twitter.
And everybody's saying, you're wrong. John Walters knows it's Nwangu. And actually he's saying it right because somebody actually asked Kene how you say it, right? And so I've just decided the heck with it. I'm asking everybody how you say your name. Not everybody, but even if there's any ounce of doubt. Now here's 2 great examples for you for football team this year. You would think John Klosterman would be John Klosterman, right? What else could it possibly be? I asked him. It's Klosterman. It's John Klosterman. Okay.
Really?
Trevor Burr. Looks like Burr, right? B-U-H-R. It's Bohr. It's
that's
Trevor
one that
Bohr.
caught me up last year.
Yeah. So So even if there's any question at all, we ask, and they tell us and repeat it 2 or 3 times, and then I go back and voice it, and so that way everybody can get them right. Now, the problem is even the coaches still say them wrong sometimes. Like Bo Freeler was Bo Freiler for his first 2 years here, right? And then he became Bo Freeler once we all, I got a video of Bo saying, "Coach, it's Freeler," and showed it to Mac. And so, eventually we get them all right. But the ones that are going to get butchered a lot this year are Kenny Ezeagu, Chase Sowell, Brett Eskelson. There's several, and so we put it on the Cyclones.com electronic roster, the correct pronunciations, if people are interested in getting them right, because, some people are just casual fans, and they're not going to sit there and spend time on that. But I just felt like we have to do that to make sure that we get them as close to correct as possible.
Well, it's awesome that you do it, because it helps, not people like me. I need to know it all now. But the local news people that are just like, oh gosh, this guy we've never heard of just had a scoop and score. We've got to get him on the. But what I found is the small schools. Yeah. So when Chase Sowell does transfer to Iowa State, it's not on East Carolina's website.
Right.
So you're watching back the ESPN Plus broadcasts.
And they're calling them everything.
And then those guys are calling.
Yes. I've noticed that through the years too. And so, some people are still going to say them in different ways, and that's fine. And I mean, I've asked Milan Momcilovic like 3 times how he says his name, and he always says Milan Momcilovic, and so that's how I say it. And others are going to say Momcilovic and whatever. But on the website, it says Momcilovic. And so anyway, I just ask the guys directly. They say it. I'll ask them to say it again slower if it's a tricky name. And I do the best as I can of repeating it. And, obviously the French pronunciation of Kylian Touré is a little bit different than maybe our American version, but that's as close as we're going to get. But, it's I feel important to the guys and their families to try to get it right.
So we're entering, is it year 22, 23 as full-time voice?
This will be my 23rd year.
23rd year.
Yeah.
Still feeling as fresh as ever?
Yes. I still feel great, and as long as I do, I want to keep doing the games. But it is, I'm not going to say it's not challenging, because there's a lot of things involved in it. But it ramps back up this time of year, and it's fun, and I still love it. And I can't believe 23 years has just flown by like that. It's just been an awesome experience. I've gotten to work with Eric Heff the whole time, which is just incredible. And before that, I worked with Gary Thompson and Pete Taylor. So, you can't get a better trio of Cyclones than that, to get an opportunity to work with in your life, and to work with Pete and Gary and now Eric. And then, the other part of it is just have worked with just tremendous coaches, great people, all of them, and they've treated me really, really well. And so that makes it really enjoyable, because if you had a coach that was a jerk that you had to deal with, it would be a really long season, and you'd be kind of bummed out that you had to go through that. But I haven't had that experience at all. So I'm really blessed, and obviously the group of coaches we have right here, right now, are just absolutely incredible. So really enjoy the camaraderie and visiting with them and getting to know them. I'd say that's one of the biggest perks of the job.
And I'm guessing it's nice that literally nothing in college athletics has changed over those 23 years. Right. Well, even I was thinking back, I looked at a video from, it was probably around the time that I took over, of an aerial shot of Jack Trice Stadium. And I thought, holy mackerel, no fold-in end zone, no redone concourse, no new video boards, no Stark Performance Center, no all-ball plaza, just at the bridge. Just looking at it, it's like, oh my gosh, yeah, that's the way it used to be. And if you go back even further, when Troy Davis was playing, or before that, the concrete, like artificial turf that those guys somehow bounced off of on cold days. We have come so far, and it's just incredible to sit there and look and think how much
our athletics department has changed over those 23 years in a really positive way, mostly because of Jamie Pollard. I'd say 90% of it because of Jamie Pollard and his direction and vision for the university, and so many positive developments. I mean, we didn't even have a football practice facility, an indoor facility. You're in Ames, Iowa, and you're trying to get ready for bowl games. And I remember when we did the dedication of that, the Bergstrom Football Complex, and what a victory that was to have a place to practice. They used to go to the Lead Rec Center, and try to practice around pillars, and it was just almost impossible to practice football over there. And so it's amazing. Yes, the sport itself has changed. The NCAA has changed. The rules have changed. So the players are bigger, stronger, faster. So many things are different than they were when I started 23 years ago. But one thing that hasn't changed is just the passion of the Cyclone fans and how much fun it is to call the games.
Well, I'm sure being on the job 23 years, but growing up in this state, and you've seen some pretty bad times for Iowa State athletics. What does that do to your perspective now when, oh my gosh, 8-4 might be a disappointing season?
It changes it for sure. And I didn't actually grow up in the state, but I basically did because I went to college here. So I started working at KCCI in 1982, and I've been covering Iowa State ever since. But I grew up in the Chicago area, so I knew nothing about Iowa State, and then came here and had to learn. But the first 15 football games I saw between Iowa and Iowa State were Iowa victories. It was a bad time to start that series, right? And then, so when Iowa State finally broke through in 1998 and then was able to carry it forward and win 5 in a row and really make it a rivalry ever since, because it's just about even ever since then, that was a huge shift. But you're exactly right. And I think one of the reasons that Cyclone fans are so great is because we have the scars. Like, you can't truly enjoy winning and purely enjoy the wins unless you have lost some at some point, right? If all you did was win every time you competed, there wouldn't be any joy in the victories. But Iowa State fans have plenty of scars from the years when you're absolutely right. 8-4 sounded tremendous, and it's still a very good season. So, but yes, if you didn't go through the 0-10-1 season to get to this point and realize how valuable it is and how special it is what Matt Campbell's doing right now, then I don't think you can appreciate it as much as those who did. Eric Heft does, he was back in the day of our 0-10-1 season, he was selling for Clear Channel, and potential client said to him, what was your record last year? He goes, 10-1. So times have changed. We don't have to shift the inflection as much now to make that point.
How much do you think winning can change the fan base? Because I worry about the 15-year-olds right now.
Yeah.
That, like, I'm young and I'm lucky that I have witnessed as much winning as I have. But I was here for the 3-9 Paul Rhodes years, the 2-10. I worry about the 15-year-olds that all they know is Matt Campbell, Fred Hoiberg, TJ Altenberger, Steve Prohm.
Well, hopefully it's a problem we never have to worry about because they just keep winning. But it is special and it's fragile, and you know that, and you know that you better enjoy this wave for as long as you can. The one thing that gives you some hope that it can continue is these guys that you're mentioning are all leaving it a better job than they found it. Mm-hmm. And so that continues to upgrade between the facility upgrades that we talked about before and what Jamie's done, and the fact that these coaches have elevated the programs, they're better programs now than they were 20 years ago, period. And so that makes it a more attractive job to somebody else. And so hopefully it does continue with success, but we all know there's no guarantees of that. And, with the shifting landscape of college athletics, so much can change in a short period of time. And so you do make sure that you stop and smell the roses and appreciate the good moments, because they are fleeting. And to just expect that, no, this is just going to continue forever, it's probably a good lesson for 15-year-olds. But trust me, they'll go through their own level of pain at some point, as all Cyclone fans do.
Hopefully not.
It'll happen at some point, and we'll deal with it. I mean, look at the basketball season we had just a few years ago before TJ was hired. Nobody saw that coming, and those fans at least they're old enough to remember that.
Yeah, and luckily fans weren't allowed in the building that year.
It's a good year for that. Really good timing. And really good timing for Eric and I not to go on the road because of COVID. We did the games from KXNO studios and did them remotely, which was challenging in its own right. But, man, after you've lost every time on the road, which they lost every road game that year, getting on that plane can be rough, and so that was good timing as far as doing the games remotely.
Like we're in my favorite place on earth, Hilton Coliseum. But if there was one year in my entire life where I was not allowed to go to Hilton Coliseum, it was probably that basketball season.
I think that was a good one to pick.
It all worked out.
Yeah, a lot of things happened. We got young when everybody else was getting old, and it wasn't a great time to be young. And some of those young players, like Darlingston Dubar, have gone on and become good players, but they just weren't ready, in that moment yet. They were just very young players, and a few other things happened, and it kind of snowballed in a negative direction, which is kind of the whole point, that it can happen, and don't ever think you're immune to that, because look at Oklahoma State, what they've gone through. Yeah. Football, basketball, they were a power for so long, and they've struggled lately. Doesn't mean they won't get back to being a power, but it is fleeting. It comes and goes, and you just hope that you can ride those positive waves as long as you can. You
mentioned stopping to smell the roses. Has there been a specific game or a specific night these last couple of years that you vividly remember just sitting down and being like, wow, this is special?
In the Matt Campbell era, you could kind of see that progress that first year. You really could see the progress. Iowa State won 3 games that year, but they came very close to winning several other games, and then blew out Texas Tech with Mahomes, and that was the one that everybody remembers. But going into the next year, you weren't sure. But when they went down to Oklahoma and won in 2017, that was a moment where you kind of sat back and said, okay, that was a statement win of, we're going to be ready to play no matter who we're playing, where we're playing, and what our quarterback situation was coming into that game. We're going to be ready, and you better bring it if you're going to beat Iowa State. And so that was a really defining moment. And then to come back a couple weeks later, beat number 4 TCU, really, those were times when you kind of just sat back and said, okay, something special is happening here. Let's get along for the ride and just enjoy this. And obviously, Matt's continued to elevate the program ever since. But those were defining moments as far as, and that really captures your attention. Or, when TJ, all of a sudden you're in the first year and you're beating Wisconsin in Milwaukee, and you're going to the Sweet 16, coming off the year we just talked about, and you're thinking to yourself, oh boy, we might have something pretty special here. And those moments really capture you, and you say, okay, let's make sure we make the most of this.
Is that Oklahoma game the most improbable win that you've called? Where's it rank in there?
It's in the top. It's probably number 1 because, Kyle Kempt had thrown 2 forward passes in his entire 5-year career going into that game. And Matt Campbell told us in his office on Thursday, Kyle Kemp's going to start this game. And I'm like, holy mackerel, and so you're in a 33-point underdog to begin with. They've got Baker Mayfield. It's a place where you've hardly ever won. And to have Kyle go out and throw for 340 and 4 touchdown passes, and Alan Lazard, the game winner, and so many big plays. Trevor Ryan. I just think back to that game, all the guys that made huge plays, and it had to be one of the most improbable. But another one that was definitely in that category was 2009 going to Lincoln, Nebraska. Because so many guys were sick, and it was Paul Rhodes, and we had a bunch of guys sick, and I remember riding over to the game because Eric and I drove over. It was the last time we played in Lincoln, so we got a walk-off win out of this deal. But Eric and I are driving over to the game, and we're kind of talking to each other. And I think we got a pretty good shot today, even though they had Ndamukong Suh, and they had a good team. They were really good. But we got ourselves in that mental frame of mind that we got a shot. Then Tom Crochelle calls and he says, guys, as only Tom can, guys, Alexander Robinson is not playing today, so Jeremiah Schwartz is going to be our starting running back. And Austin Arnaud cannot go either, so Jerome Tiller is going to be our starting quarterback. And we're like, okay, yeah, I guess
maybe not.
Maybe not. Then you go win 9-7 with 8 turnovers to none, and guys throwing up on the sidelines, so many guys sick, and that was just an incredible feeling to see Iowa State win that game. And, of course, the I'm so proud moment with Paul Rhodes afterwards. But that was up there high on the improbability scale, too. And there have been multiple. I mean, think about Deontay Burton and everybody, Donovan Jackson hitting all those threes, and Iowa State winning in Allen Fieldhouse and hitting, 18 threes in 2017. There's been a bunch of those. And that's what's fun about sports. That's what we love about it, right, is that no matter how much you've convinced yourself that you know exactly what's going to happen, that's when the opposite happens, right? And that's what we love about sports, because you just, when you think you got it figured out, you don't.
I know the Paul Rhodes era didn't end like maybe envisioned after that win against Nebraska or Oklahoma State. But how much do you think that win at Nebraska, or that moment, has influenced what we're seeing now in Ames?
Oh, I think Paul really got the ship righted. To go to a bowl game in his first year and win a bowl game, the Insight Bowl, was huge that first year. And he just got that positive vibe back where people came in feeling good about themselves every day. And so I think he did a great job in a lot of ways of helping to pass the torch. And, each coach passes the torch and hopefully makes it better than where they found it. And that's what we've tried to do. But Paul, he had some great wins. You mentioned Oklahoma State, winning down at TCU. I think they had won 15 in a row when they entered the Big 12 and got kind of that slap in the face, got beat by Iowa State in their first Big 12 home game. And he had a lot of really good wins, signature wins. The win against Iowa with Steele Jantz was one that you're never going to forget. And so, unfortunately, it didn't end the way we had hoped. I love Paul Rhodes, phenomenal guy.
When we talk about this year's athletic year, aside from the pronunciations, what is the excitement level just around the athletics department for what every 4 major team has coming back?
Yeah, it's high. It's high. I mean, I noticed that on the tailgate tour when we went around in May. Somebody put up the graphic on Twitter that if you added men's basketball, women's basketball, and football records together of the 16 Big 12 teams and stacked them, Iowa State was number 1. So I showed that on the tailgate tour and said, hey, I know the seasons have highs and lows, but again, smell the roses. Look at how special of an era we're in right now. And then with Kevin Dresser in the wrestling. So I think there's some real positivity that this can be another special year. Last year was an extremely special year. I mean, we've only won 25 games 6 times in the history of men's basketball at Iowa State. Last year was one of those years. Women's basketball, back to the NCAA tournament. Football, 11 wins for the first time in school history. And so, it was a very special year, but I think we have a chance to have another very special year. I mean, I think with this set of coaches, with the players that are returning, the way that everybody has handled and understood and done the best they can in the NIL era of navigating through those choppy waters, I think we find ourselves in a really, really good spot, which is amazing because it has been tough to navigate through all that. But when everybody's going in the same direction, it really helps.
You mentioned how it was a great year and how maybe portions of the fan base think that it was maybe a little bit disappointing when you put it all together. And men's basketball specifically, I know you are sometimes in the building for practice. Do you get the sense that they feel like maybe they were missing something last year and that they've maybe found it this season? Yeah,
and I think part of that was just the injuries. I mean, when you look at a team that was 15-1 and ranked, third in the nation or second? I mean,
second,
yeah. And they were rolling, and nobody was playing better basketball in the country than Iowa State at that moment. And so they were really rolling. But then Milan got hurt, and obviously Keyshawn's injuries and Taman's injuries, and it just kind of snowballed in a tough direction where they were still competitive and they could still win some games that were great wins, but they couldn't win as consistently. And so, as I mentioned, 25 wins, still a great year. Didn't end the way you wanted, obviously. You never want to lose the NCAA tournament in the second round, although, getting a first-round win is something that a lot of schools would love to have. And, it was a year that I think could have been better if we had stayed healthy. But I also think you touched on something there, that they have found something now, because I do believe that the combination of bigs that they have now might be a little bit better suited to what TJ had done in his first 3 years on the job. And, that kind of big man that can get out and help defend and then get back and recover and still protect the rim is something that was maybe missing a little bit a year ago, and I think that'll be a strength of the team this year. And so I think we'll see them get back to playing more style that we're used to, although your talent's different every year, your players are different, but there's some real talent on the floor out there, and there's a lot of guys that get after it defensively. So I think this is a team that can get back that defensive identity that maybe was a little bit missing toward the end of last season.
And I'm sure you saw the clip a couple weeks ago of Matt Campbell going on. It was like a high school football coach in Texas, whatever podcast clip that was. And he talked about the challenges of having the target on their back in the 21 season and how really no one in Iowa State football history has ever had to deal with that.
Yeah.
And now they've gone through it.
Yeah.
And maybe that influences 2025. I like to think that it was maybe the same thing with men's basketball. Once they got, when you're number 2 in the country, every single school in the conference wants to beat you even more.
Yeah, that target is big, and it's there now permanently, and it never used to be there. Iowa State used to be able to sneak up on everybody. Now that target is there, and you got to deal with that and understand how to handle it. And I think, Matt will tell you that he's progressed as a coach, and every experience is different, and every learning experience you try to gain something from and get better. And I think that in his mind, maybe this team is a little bit better equipped to handle the expectations of the pressure than that team was. And we have seen some of that on the basketball side as well, but you never know until you play, and the biggest thing, Jake, is going to be, can you win those close games? And that's where Rocco Beck gives me so much confidence, because Iowa State, in his 2 years as starting quarterback, 7-4 in one possession games, 5-1 last year. And Iowa State had lost 12 of 13 one possession games prior to that. Okay, so they were in all these games, like we've talked about. You always have a chance to win every week with Matt Campbell, no doubt about that. And that's something that was a huge hurdle to get to begin with. Just that feeling that I don't care who we're playing, where we're playing, you have a chance every week, because that was not the case, trust me, in the past. And so so that's the first hurdle. But then to actually win those close games and make that play in that moment is something that Rocco has proven to be really special at. And so it gives me a lot of confidence. I mean, you don't want to put it all on his shoulders, but to go 5-1 and think about those game-winning drives that he had, and he actually had another one against Texas Tech, which would have been 5. The defense gave up the touchdown coming back. Otherwise, it would have been 5 come from behind final possession victories led by Rocco Beck, which is absolutely incredible. And so that kind of stuff gives me a lot of confidence that this team can win some close games again.
When you're in the booth in those moments, I think back to Kinnick Stadium. I'm on the sideline. I'm probably on the opposite 5-yard line.
Yeah.
And it probably took 10 seconds for it to register in my head that, Jalen Knoll just got him into field goal range.
Yes.
When you're in the booth, how early, especially last year, did you pick up that, I think Rocco's actually going to do this? Yeah,
I mean, that game, I think, was a huge step in that direction. And then we just saw it continue with UCF and all those come-from-behind wins throughout the rest of the season. But that game was special because, to be down 13-0 at the half, and then all of a sudden, you get that over-the-top touchdown to Jalen Knoll, and that was kind of a statement, too, of, okay,
they had just scored.
Yeah, they had scored to cut it to 19-7, I think, and then Jalen right back over the top for the long touchdown, and it was kind of like saying, we're here to stay. You might have counterpunched just now, but we're here for the full 60 minutes, and you're going to have to beat us. And but for Rocco to get the ball back in that situation, and Jalen to get open twice, and because he had another catch right before that, and then the longer one that got him in field goal range, was incredible. And it's a great feeling to see big-time players making big-time plays and big-time moments. My grandson's favorite player is Jalen Knoll. He was so jacked. And then for Kyle, to go out there as a freshman in that situation, growing up in Dubuque, and go out there and hit a 54-yarder was absolutely incredible. So you might have heard a little bit of emotion in my voice on that made field goal, but man, that was one of those moments, like we talked about earlier, that just when you think you got things figured out, you don't.
Well, I know you're a Bears fan, so Sundays maybe haven't been a blast for a bunch of years. How much better is it now when you have Jalen Knoll on Sunday and Brock Purdy? And, is it something that you ever thought you would see?
Life's so much more fun on Sundays now, to watch Breece Hall and to watch Alan Lazard and to watch Brock Purdy and all these guys that are doing exceptionally well in the NFL. It's so cool to see. And and I'm as much of a fan of, I don't get the Sunday ticket or anything because I don't have enough time to watch a ton of games on Sunday. But I will try to make a point if one of the Iowa State players or the Bears are playing. But it's a nice consolation prize when the Bears aren't on, if Brock Purdy is going to be on, or Will McDonald is going to be on, and I get to go watch those guys play. So what Matt's done is absolutely amazing. The number of guys that have not only gone into the NFL, but are really, really good NFL players. And we saw what John Lynch said at his press conference before the draft. You get an Iowa State player, you know what you're getting. Wow. I mean, that is quite an endorsement for your football program. So really good stuff.
Makes the job easier for the marketing person.
Makes everybody's job easier. Everybody's job easier. And that's one of the things that's so much fun about it, is Matt appreciates all those people that contribute. He knows he's not doing it himself. He knows he has a great staff. He knows he has players that are committed to it, the wait staff, everybody, nutrition, and he always mentions all those people. And, they should all share in the joy of those moments.
Well, John, this has been fun.
Yeah, pleasure.
Fun to talk Iowa State. You have anything else you want to hit on that I might have missed?
Oh, boy. No, but it's starting soon, man. We got soccer coming up here in about a month, and then volleyball right behind it, and into football, obviously, with Dublin. And, before we know it, it's coming at us 100 miles an hour. So congratulations to you on the new position.
Thank you.
Really excited for you and for Cyclone Fanatic. I think it's fantastic. When we talk about what's happened in the last 23 years that I've been calling the games and how much it's progressed, I think Cyclone Fanatic is a really big part of that, because it's given fans a place to go and really feel like they matter. And when you all of a sudden see 61,500 at these football games, and believe me, it wasn't always the case to have that many, and the stadium's gotten bigger out of necessity, to see Hilton packed every single night. Cyclone Fanatics had a lot to do with that. And so really glad that you're on their team now, and you're joining, obviously, a bunch of great people, and I think it's going to be really cool.
Yeah, I'm excited to just keep hopeful. Maybe we'll have a 70,000 seat stadium one day.
Keep this up. You never know. I mean, if Matt Campbell's still around coaching here at Iowa State 5-6 years from now, maybe that will be a necessity. I'm not going to rule anything out. There would have been a time when you'd have said, are you nuts? You're going to make Jack Trice Stadium 61,500? And look at the way they fill it. And so it's awesome.
If only there was a way to expand Hilton without losing its charm. It's impossible.
No, 3 years? I mean, this place has stood the test of time. And how many arenas have been built and torn down since Hilton was built? And it is the premier place in the country to watch college basketball. I just love it. And I wouldn't change a thing about Hilton.
How hard is it to call games at Hilton? Not from a fun standpoint, but an actual practical standpoint of knowing what's going on.
Well, because TJ tends to stand right in front of me, I'm doing a lot of this, which keeps me loose and limber. I mean, that's how I've aged somewhat decently. But no, it's a challenge because there's so much going on. But that's what's fun about it. I mean, people always ask me, what do you like better, calling football or calling basketball? And I say, I love them both, but for two different reasons. Football is the whole game day experience. It is your day, is that football game. And so from the tailgating to the post game, driving home, listening to C-Dub on the Overreaction show, trying to break it down with Colin Newell, all that stuff is a part of your game day experience. That's what I love about football. And with basketball, I'm so close to the action, being right there on the bench practically with the team, that it's just a really cool experience to be down there at Hilton Coliseum and feel that energy. And it's a special time to be a Cyclone, man. Great time for you to jump on board.
It truly is. Well, thanks for doing this, John.
Yeah, my pleasure.
It's great to see you as always, and we'll have you back on.
Anytime.